Hey everyone, this is Rachel from Nonessential Media, and you're listening to the Lifecast podcast. Just as a reminder, this is a teen-rated podcast. We do occasionally use some strong language, so if you are under the age of 13, do not listen. If you're 13 or older, please stay tuned and enjoy. As always, thank you so much for listening. And we're live. Do you want to introduce this one?
Oh, yeah, I can introduce this one. Hang on, I really have to cough now. Okay, we're good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Lifecast podcast, presented by Nonessential Media. My name is Jackie, and with me this episode, and just about every episode so far, I think, is...
Rachel! Air horns.
Oh, I mean, I do have that air horn thing. Hang on now.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back, because we're hoping that you're back. And,
yeah,
that you came
we
back to us.
We hope that we haven't scared you away yet.
I mean, I would be. I don't listen to podcasts. That's the kind of the whole weird thing about this is I don't even listen to podcasts. I listen to one podcast, and here I am producing, 3 podcasts.
I watch people podcast on YouTube.
That's
anytime
weird.
I do, because Isaac will watch it, people, it's like the live video.
Why doesn't he produce
podcasting.
every single podcast then, since he's a fan of it?
I have no idea, but I don't ever actually listen to podcasts, but I don't really have time to. I mean, I guess I could put it on in the background, but if I'm gonna listen, I want to listen. I don't want to just have it play and only pick up on a few things, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're not changing anyone's life here, so I'm guessing that it'd be okay.
Ours would be the perfect
for background.
to play in the background, because we talk about such random things that you don't have to stay on topic to understand.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah.
Whereas if I looked one up yesterday, one of those murder podcasts. You know, everyone's
one of them was
obsessive.
trending because they were more or less just reading word for word. I guess there's a lot of podcasts that just go to Wikipedia and they just read word for word.
Really?
The Wikipedia page, yeah.
I would not be a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, I could just go read Wikipedia myself and probably enjoy it just as much as having someone read it to me. So,
yeah.
Which, I don't know, maybe. I listen to audiobooks. I only listen to audiobooks for, big fan of the Lensman series. So I have the entire Lensman series on audiobook, and I listen to that pretty much year-round. I'm listening or reading a Lensman book, which according to fans of, or people that aren't fans of it, means I'm misogynistic and I hate women and diversity and everything.
I should listen to audiobooks more. But there's nothing like picking up a book and reading it, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
That feel you get and the satisfaction of turning the page and then holding the rest of it and be like, this is all I have left.
That's why I could never get into Kindles and that kind of stuff. Which I read, I read a lot of amateur writing online, which is it's bad. But I read it online, but that's the thing is that's a little different, I think, cuz I read a chapter or two and provide some feedback, and if it's really good I'll come back, but spoiler alert, it's normally not.
It's not
really
that
good. Yeah, it's not.
Speaking of which, I need to update my writing.
Oh yeah, you do. What happened? Did you get my message?
Yeah.
So did it get taken down?
What does my picture look like now?
You don't have one.
Oh. No, I took it down because I didn't want to get in trouble. Plus, I want, a certain someone to be my friend, so I'm trying to accommodate to whatever they want me to do. That sounded so weird. Hold on. Anyway, back on topic.
Yeah.
I gotta start saying that now because, and the other ones I've edited.
You didn't say that?
I did say that, and then it was confusing to edit it back in because then it's we're talking about one thing and then a completely other, and it makes no sense. So. Yeah.
Your writing, by the way, is terrible. I know you did it on purpose to annoy me. It was everything that I complain about with writing. I was, oh my god, every single thing. I was so annoyed reading it.
But the thing is, I remember one time when I was into Neopets. I mean, I'm still into Neopets, but
Neopets.
hardcore into Neopets. I was writing a story.
Did you write a Neopets fan fiction?
Yeah, I did.
No way.
I probably still have it somewhere.
No, we need to read it on Chaos Fiction.
It is so good.
It's good?
I always thought it was good. I was like 15 when I wrote it, and I was like, man, this is dramatic, and it's deep, and it was about one of the, like, really pillars of Neopets, I guess you could say, like one of the main characters in Neopets.
Wait, Neopets actually has, like, main characters?
Yeah, they have, like, a whole lore kind of to them, yeah.
Wow.
So I wrote, and it was based off one of my own pets. I wrote a story about my pet, because people would always do that. I'm like, I'm going to try and do it. But things don't always come so naturally to me, so then I'll sit there, and it's like when I wrote my paper. To me, I sat there, and it took me forever, and I was like, this sucks, you know, like, this does not sound good. And then when other people read it, they're like, oh, this doesn't sound bad, like, this is good. You know, that's how I feel with my writing, is I just don't have that natural knack for it. I have to work for it. So it doesn't always seem so natural sounding to me, you know? It doesn't always flow so well. If it sounds like I'm trying too hard, if that
Got
makes
it.
sense,
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I hate reading stuff. There's two things that in amateur fiction you'll see a lot. Either you can tell that they think they're really good, so they're not trying. We know some people like this. Mm-hmm. Or they try too hard and it drags, like, the narration and the flow and everything is just dragged way down.
Yeah.
And it's awful to read. But they're like, I don't care. They like, look at this flowery language I have. I don't care. What am I reading? Like, if you have to spend 3 pages describing what a character is wearing, your story is bad. Like,
exactly. Like,
or maybe it's a good story, but your writing is not good.
Susan is wearing.
Yeah.
I don't care that she has a pink top on and a flowery headband. Like, where is she going? What's her life's goal? You know? Who's her lover?
Yeah, you're a big
And I don't
shipper.
want to know what he's wearing.
You're a big, well, yeah.
I am a huge shipper.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Are you going to bring up Ken and Yoli?
I was about to bring it up, Ken and Yoli. Oh my god, I wish I would have recorded that rant, because that was, like, easily the funniest rant I've ever seen in my life.
It still irritates me. I don't care how old I get. I will always be irritated by Ken and Yoli.
Yeah, so this is a Digimon thing, and if you guys don't watch Digimon, that's fine. But just for context here, everyone else that watched Digimon and watched through that second season was mad that Tai and Sora didn't get together, and you, like, didn't even care. You're like, whatever. But Ken and Yoli got together, and you were like, Ken deserves so much better than Yoli. Yoli's a stupid whore. I was like, what is going on? Like,
it just
you
made
ranted,
no sense.
You ranted like I've never seen anyone rant before over fictional characters being together. I was like, this is what it's like online when people complain about Zuko and Katara not getting together. This is exactly what it is. Like,
see, I can tell you right now, I've still never had a moment like that where I felt so angered by a couple, by 2 fictional characters that were put together. I have never been so pissed off. Like, I was happy, like, Katara and Aang, totally all for. Zuko and her, I never was.
Dude, where do these people come? Shipping is so weird because
I was never a fan of that. Like, I always rooted for Aang and Katara. I never once was sense. Like Zuko and Katara. No, yeah, exactly. It didn't make sense. There was a lot of times where I feel a lot of the ways that a lot of other people do, but then other people will be like, Zuko and Katara or other couples, and it's like, where are you pulling this out of your butt? Like,
that's the thing.
I don't understand where you're coming.
That's
up
what kills me about shipping, and first of all, it's weird. It's one thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's like, I read stuff and I'm like, I hope these 2 get together, but I don't get so passionate about it that I'm like freaking out on Twitter about it, like some people do, or Tumblr, or wherever they are. But these shippers, sometimes they put 2 characters together, and I'm like, literally, where are you getting this? It doesn't make any sense in the story at all.
There's no context in the story. They don't even hardly have a conversation, and these people are like, oh my gosh, they have to get together. My life will be ruined if they don't end up together.
People really do act like their life is ruined when couples don't get together, or they, like, project so hard that they're convinced that it's canon when it's not even remotely canon, and you're like, there's nothing hinting to this at all. You're stretching.
I feel like in today's day and age, we're so about conspiracy theories, and we're so into figuring out
that fictional characters are conspiring.
Yeah, no, honestly, we're so about trying. Like, we always think there's a deeper meaning to something. So an author or an artist or some sort could paint, write a song, write a book, whatever it is, make a movie, and people always look further into it and be like, that tree in the back, that actually symbolizes so-and-so's mental state.
And it's
crazy. Like, that tree has nothing to do with anything.
No, there's just a fucking tree there. That's
yeah,
all there
exactly.
is to it.
It's just a tree.
Yeah.
Like, just accept the fact that you don't have to go deep every time someone releases something, or there's not always a deeper meaning.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, as a writer,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love diving into those things, and when I figure something out, I'm like, whoa, mind blown. Like, I love those experiences, but I'm also not to the point where I have to do that with everything. You know?
Exactly. And it's frustrating when people do that. You know, it's, I don't know, and it's weird too, because, like, you know, I write, and there are times when I do that kind of stuff, and it's funny because sometimes it'll go right over somebody's head, but then they're looking in the wrong area, and I'm like, man, you're just need to actually sit down and, like, figure out the context clues here. That might help you out a little bit. But
wait, do you really do that in your writing?
Mm-hmm.
I might actually have to read more than 5 chapters.
Yeah, maybe you should. Thanks for being a supportive friend. And I get it. If someone sucks at what they're doing, you just don't want to continue down.
You don't suck. I'm just not a huge bookworm, you know?
Yeah.
I just don't read that often. I guess I enjoy it. I go through phases, because when I was about, like, 16, 17, I read all the time. I was at the library constantly, always checking out books, always reading. And then I felt like as my life got busier, it wasn't a priority anymore,
Sure.
You know? And it's still, I mean, I read for school, but that's because I have to. It's not because I'm genuinely interested. Although, I'm trying to look at it differently, because here's the thing with college is you're paying for it, and this is all stuff that you need to know for your job, so you need to pay attention to what you're reading, and you need to understand it, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to do your job at the level you should be able to.
Yep.
So that's why now when I look at it, I'm like, okay, I genuinely have to understand this. But then it still sucks, because it's like, I really don't care about all this stuff, you know?
Yeah, I know with my mom, like, she reads a lot now. Like, since she's retired, she's read, like, probably 200 books. I don't know, it's insane.
Wow.
But when she was working, she didn't read, because her job was reading through documents and having to splice apart it was important that she understood every single word in that document, and because if she made the wrong choice on that document, it could be catastrophic. So, for her, it kind of sucked the fun out of reading, and it makes it hard even if you enjoy reading, because my mom loved reading, but when you do it as a job or you do it in school, and it kind of, like, ruins the fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
It takes the fun out of it for you.
Yeah.
I think the magical thing about reading is, at least for me, I am such a how to describe this, like,
autistic? No.
That, and no. I picture things so vividly in my head. Autistic. When I'm reading, though, I get these really cool pictures, and the thing with reading is you get to create your own picture.
Yeah.
You're not, as if when you're reading, or not reading, when you're watching a movie based off a book. That's the one thing about reading. I think that's the problem with adapting books to movies. People that have read the books have created what they think
absolutely
these worlds should look like, and these characters, and then when they put it into a movie, people get upset because it's not the reality they've made for it. You know? But that's what I love about books, is being able to read it and interpret it the way you want to interpret it. That's the fun thing about it. When they do, at least when people properly describe characters and environments and scenes, you know?
Yeah, I think, and it's, you know, writer perspective, sometimes it's hard to have that balance, but yeah, it's when people, you know, we've read stuff, me and you both have read amateur fiction, where you don't even know who's talking because it's not structured properly, and that really takes you out of it, or even the opposite side, where it gets so in-depth in how it's describing something, where you're like, bro, you could have just said it was a tree. Like, you didn't need to describe every piece of bark on the tree, and every leaf, and every color that was on every leaf, and all this, and every worm that was on the tree, and all this crap. And there's definitely a balance. Or, you know, I think a problem is there's a lot of people that write that don't read. We're talking about amateur fiction right now, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and
I agree.
we know, we've communicated, both of us, with someone who's like this, who clearly... Actually, we know someone in person, too, who's like this as well, who clearly doesn't read and has maybe never read in their entire life, but is convinced that they're going to become a great writer. And this is the thing. This doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what you want to get into. If you don't do the flip side of that and observe and learn, you're never going to be good. It doesn't matter if it's music. Like, you want to become the best guitar player ever, you need to go listen to someone who plays really good guitar. Yeah. You need to understand what it actually sounds like. If you want to be a writer, you need to go read a book and read a lot of books. And then you need to sit down and you need to write a lot too. You need to keep writing. And I think there's too much of this attitude that people think they're just so good at what they think they like to do, but they're not, and they can't like sit down and acknowledge the... Wow, that's really depressing. I'm sorry, guys, if you have dreams of becoming a writer.
This is helpful, though. It's true. If you want to be a writer, you need to read. You know, you need to understand how writing works, or you need to have that moment where you read a book and you experience it, and you have that moment where you're like, wow, this is what I want to convey to my readers.
Absolutely.
And you won't get that unless you read, you know?
You're not going to know how to convey it. You're not going to understand.
The only reason, I don't write, but anytime I've ever written or done some kind of fan fiction, I guess you can say.
Cringe.
It's based off my Neopets fan fiction. It's based off stuff that I've read before, you know, or that I've, that I've read.
Yeah. I'm going to address the fan fiction thing. We have a whole podcast dedicated to fan fiction. But I just want to say, I think that I hope people don't like listen to that podcast or listen to what I'm saying now and think that like fan fiction is a negative thing. I think fan fiction is cool in the sense that it's a really good beginning step to becoming a great writer, because the hard work of creating these characters and creating these worlds, it's already done. So you have a building block where you can just hone in on the technical aspect of it. And it also teaches you, like, if you're truly going to sit down and write a good fan fiction, you're keeping these characters in character. It teaches you how to keep a character in character and put them through very difficult situations and scenarios and stuff. So fan fiction, in a way, has its place. I agree. Being said, I've never written a fan fiction in my life, and I can't imagine writing one. And I absolutely do kind of poke a little fun at the fan fiction community. But if that's what you're good at and that's what teaches you how to write, like, that's great.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to moments like Never Heroes that I've read, which is one of Jackie's books.
It's one of them.
It's just crazy because even that, and I think I've told you this before, if you're able to make me think about these characters, or make me care for the characters, and make me create this environment in my head for them, then you're doing your job. And that's how I felt. Even now I can picture moments in the book that I've read, and I can get the exact picture that I created in that moment. And that's the thing. I
succeeded, yes.
Well, and once you have that in your head, once you've created it's there.
Yeah,
like, you really can't change it.
Yeah, it's just like you've seen it. It's
exactly.
That's the best thing about reading, is when you get to experience that moment. And because you do work so hard, your brain is firing on so many different cylinders to create that world inside your head so you can really enjoy the story. It's imprinted on your mind more than if you sit down and watch a movie. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you've experienced it, like truly been there in a way. So
exactly. It's very...
Which I guess that explains why some people get triggered by stuff in books. That's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
I know you had to get ready. I just don't know if you have time to.
Blake has to draft his fantasy football team in 7 minutes.
Blake does fantasy football?
Oh, yeah, every year.
Is he still watching baseball? No, he's not.
No.
Spoiler alert.
No, he's not. Just football.
Pathetic. As I said to the person who's only watches... No, you watch basketball, too.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not a huge...
You're not a sports person at all.
I watch it because, I mean, basketball, I really enjoy basketball. Football, I watch, and I'll enjoy it here and there, but I'm not a huge sports fan. Never have been. But I'm surrounded by people who are. So I really have no choice but to participate a little bit. But I'm definitely not the person you can sit down and have a conversation with. Heather, she's hardcore into football, and she can stand, like, she knows what she's talking about. I'm not one of those people. I'm just like, I hear stuff and I'm like, oh, yeah, my husband told me about that. But I don't research it, you know?
Typical woman.
Exactly. I just sit in the kitchen and cook for everyone while they watch football.
You're going to be barefoot, too. I mean, that's the most important thing.
Making sandwiches for everyone.
Sandwiches. Yeah, I'm not a big football fan. I like basketball. I think basketball's lost a lot of the finesse that made it great, which is why I think the WNBA is growing so much and is becoming more popular, is because it still has the finesse aspect to it. Obviously, we're about to get hockey in our region for the first time.
Yeah.
Hockey, we have a hockey team locally. which I like to go to games, but I don't know if I could watch hockey on TV.
I just go for fights.
Wow. You should have been at the game we went to against the Portland Winterhawks there, and when there was I think there was 4 or 5 fights that game. It was it was the most insane.
That's my favorite thing.
It was insane. It was a fun crowd though. The crowd was hyped up because they're watching people get their teeth knocked out, you know.
That's the best part of hockey, not gonna lie.
Obviously my sport's baseball though. Like I said in a different podcast, I mean I watch hundreds of games a year. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. I mean, looking like the amount of time I waste on teams that never win a championship, teams that never win that never even been to the World Series. The suffering is real.
Hey, that makes you a true fan, though. When you can stay and support a team. Oh, excuse me. Through it all, you're a true fan.
Yeah.
Those are the best teams because then when they do make it, you could be like, I was here through it all.
You
feel with them, you know?
I buy a ticket to the home opener every single year. So my whole thing is when we're here in October, I can say I was sitting in this seat in March. So everyone knows that I was there from day one every year. I mean, for the last I don't even know how long, as long as I could buy tickets forever. So
last year during the World Series, I was giving birth.
Yeah, and I didn't watch any of the World Series last year because I was like, I'm not watching a World Series between the Boston Red Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So didn't watch a single game.
Didn't the Dodgers win?
No, the Dodgers lost again. Oh. They're only the second team to lose back-to-back World Series. The other team being the Texas Rangers. Yeah, fun fact. It's the first time in my life I've not watched a World Series, and this year I might not watch the playoffs, and it'll be the first time in my life I've never watched the playoffs.
Dang,
so yeah,
you're setting records every year.
I know. It's a first every year, something new. But yeah, you were giving birth. Didn't you give birth during that super long 17-inning game?
Was it on a Thursday or a Friday?
I don't fucking remember.
Because it was Saturday night when I had Chloe, but I don't think I gave birth that day. I think I was in the hospital because I was in the hospital for it was
5 a long time.
Freaking days.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, I got there Wednesday night, didn't have her till Saturday night.
I remember it was a Saturday night because I'd obviously gone out to the bar. I think that was that the day that someone pulled the gun on me in Orlando? It might have been that.
Maybe.
I think it was. Because I remember getting that text message from Blake and being like, "Oh, that's so cool. I'm glad I lived."
You're like, nice. You're like, hold on, guys. Let me text my friends back. Congrats.
I wonder what I said I'm really curious now what I said back to you guys. Did I say anything? I don't know.
I just remember you asking you to pick up my nursing bras, and then you brought them, and I was like, I'm just gonna return them because I never use them.
Oh, the ins and outs of having to be a parent and not knowing what you're gonna need.
Exactly.
But you're here. You made it.
I made it somehow. Still making it.
I mean, you still have a long ways to go before...
I have a long ways to go.
The rest of your life,
It makes me not want to have another kid.
Yeah.
One kid is enough. I don't know how people have, my parents, 10 million kids. I don't know how they did it. I have 4 brothers and 1 sister.
Yeah, that's too many.
At one point, there was 6 kids in the house.
That's insane to me.
6 kids. Three of them teenagers, or preteen teenagers, and then 3 babies. Think about that. That's crazy.
It's the worst of both worlds.
Exactly. I don't know how my parents functioned. They didn't.
I've always been really thankful that it's just been me and my brother in a way. You know, I mean, I'm glad I wasn't a single kid. I think that would have been really tough. And my brother kind of led the way. He was definitely a leader. And he's a good guy, which was really helpful. But I can't imagine having to deal with. I always wanted a younger brother or sister, and I think people see it in the how I interact. A lot of my friends now, it used to be I was the youngest one in the group, and now I'm kind of the oldest one in the group.
Yeah,
by far. And I think part of it is that I always wanted to mentor people. That's why I got into coaching and stuff like that. But I can't imagine having to deal with anyone other than my brother in that house. I would have gone crazy. I would have just gone absolutely nuts.
That's what Blake and I have talked about. That's why we've talked about only having one more, solely because I don't want Chloe to be an only child.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've loved having a big family. It's nice, but I don't want to bite off more than we can chew. You know, I don't want to have so many kids to where we can't manage them and that we can't afford it. You know,
it's expensive.
I want to be able to, take nice vacations every once in a while and give them good experiences, because when I was young, we had so much in my family. We were so poor for so long that we weren't able to do any of that stuff. And I mean, we still had the basic things, and my family is so together and loving that I didn't miss out on. My parents used to say, like, we aren't rich in the way of, like, money, but we're rich in family. And I think that's the most important thing. Exactly. And I appreciate that growing up, but I want to have that and be able to, you know, do nice things and live a good life that I didn't get to as a kid for my kid, but in a way that's appropriate, because I don't want to overspoil my kid because I wasn't, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah,
that makes sense. There's a balance there. You know,
they
still got to earn.
There's a balance to everything.
They need to have the things that they deserve and that they need to be a part of society, but balance it out, and that also teach them how to earn things.
Exactly.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, I think my parents did a good job with that. I mean, we didn't... My parents were way wealthier than your parents. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it in any other way. Like, just the fact. But they didn't. They lived very humble life, which for me, I didn't mind, because I knew that no matter what happened, like, we had the money to cover anything. When I had to have my knee surgery, it wasn't even a question of, is it possible, kind of a thing. Like, can we afford this? No, it was taken care of a lot by great insurance that cost a lot of money and everything, which that's a whole other topic. But you know, we didn't, but, you know, for us, we didn't go out to, like, all my friends that lived on the block with me, or all the people that I was friends with growing up who were truly poor, like, somehow they still went out to movies, and, like, you know, their parents were trying to find ways to give them...
They were living on credit.
Yeah, well, it's possible.
Not necessarily, but
that's a huge problem, though. It is, people think that if you're not taking your kids out to the movies, you're not taking them to Disneyland, you're not taking them, you know, every other day out to go eat a nice expensive dinner or whatever, that they're not giving their kids what they need. But I just don't agree with that. I think that, you know, my parents had those means, and we went on vacations, but our vacations were, we went camping, which doesn't cost a lot of money.
You had true family moments together.
And
like, I'm sure you guys probably did, like, I mean, like, my family, we did board games, or, like, arts and crafts kind of stuff. Yeah, every Sunday we'd play Life. Yeah, exactly. Like, you spent true time, and you have real interactions with your family. Not to say that going out to the movies or doing stuff like that's bad, because I think that's all fun stuff
too, yeah.
But in those moments, you really truly don't get to interact with your kids, or your kids with you, because you're focused on something else, you know? Yeah. Whereas when you're at home and you're doing arts and crafts or board games or cooking together, you're having those real true interactions with each other.
It's true interactions, and I think, like, some of the things you listed, it's good for the development of the kid. Like, if you're doing arts and crafts, or you're teaching them how to cook, or they're helping you with the chores and you're making it fun, like, don't force them to not have fun, but let them have fun with it. Or, you know, if you're outside playing with your kids, and that's the thing, you know, I lived in the middle of nowhere, so it wasn't a choice. Like, couldn't walk down the street and go do something. Like, I would have to ride my bike for several hours to get into town. Yeah. You know, a car ride into town was already like 30-40 minutes. So, you know, we found ways to have fun outside, and that kind of helped us grow as a friend group and as a family too. Like, if we wanted to go outside and, you know, play baseball or football or basketball or whatever, that's what we did, and it was good for us as growing human beings, and it was good for us as a growing family too. So
those are the moments I remember as kids, going out and playing, or my dad taking us to the park and running around, being the only parent in the playground, running in the playground chasing us, you know. But those are the moments that I cherish and that I will always remember, you know. And I think that's those are important things to do with your kids and for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's that bonding moment, and for some people, like, that, for them, that is going to Disneyland or whatever, and that's fine. Like, it is, but I hope people don't feel obligated to give those moments to their kids, and realize that the kids, they're not going to know whether or not they missed out on Disneyland unless you tell them that. They're going to care about whether you were there when they needed you, and that's the most important thing, for sure.
Exactly. All right.
That was another deep topic.
It was. At least these last couple ones have been deep. Well, I just heard Chloe cry, so.
Your baby's crying.
Well, thank you guys so much for
thanks for listening
to another deep conversation.
Yeah, they're not always all this deep. Sometimes they're
It's goofy. Just the day, you know?
Yeah, it's a very deep day.
It's a deep day. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us ramble on about whatever it is
we did.
that we're talking about today.
But
yeah,
thanks for joining us.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Jackie. And we'll see you. We won't see you.
We'll talk to you.
You'll hear us.
You'll hear us. We'll talk at you.
On the next, we're going to talk at you. You're going to eavesdrop on our conversation. On the next thrilling, exciting episode of Lifecast, same bat time, same bat channel, nonessentialmedia.com.
Check us out.
Hashtag Lifecast.
Strugglecast.
Hashtag
That's what
Strugglecast.
Isaac says. I wonder if this stuff is actually really good.
Hi again, it's Isaac from Nonessential Media. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'd love to hear from you, so please feel free to reach out to us on our Twitter at NonessentialM and on our Facebook by searching Nonessential Media. We also have a website, nonessentialmedia.com, and on there you can find info about our creators, other projects like Zeros of the Tabletop, and Chaos Fiction. There's also some awesome merch you'll want to check out. Be sure to check us out on Patreon. We have some really cool content, such as behind-the-scenes shenanigans and non-essential personnel. As always, thank you for listening, and we love your support.